What's up, my boomers? It's me, Melanie Mac, here on my new channel, Melanie Mac Go Boom. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me today on this beautiful Saturday. Happy weekend. Is it Easter weekend? You know what? I didn't even know that it was, but I think it might be. Am I wrong? I don't know. I'll check that later. I need to figure that out. So today I'm going to talk about Tomb Raider because I will take any chance I can. And, you know, the Journos are at it again. It's not just the Journos, but it's all this wanting to change existing characters. And now we've got a whole article from the Gamer saying Lara Croft needs to be a lesbian. She needs a girlfriend. She needs to be a lesbian, apparently. This is the important topics to them. Is Lara Croft's love life in a game, in a series that has nothing to do with it. So let me cringe through this article real quick, and then I will, share some more of my opinions. So, and it's by Jade. Of course it's by Jade. All right, Tomb Raider needs to hurry up and give Lara Croft a girlfriend already. All right, let's see. Lara Croft is a lesbian. All right, just dropping facts off the big gate. Okay, just gonna state it as a fact because, people can't have same-sex friends anymore. Sam and Frodo, they can't be friends either. This is a thing now. Crystal Dynamics' 2013 reboot of the legendary adventure franchise introduced a younger, more sympathetic Lara who wasn't afraid to show her vulnerable side. Ain't that the truth? She was crying the entire time. This meant confiding in friends and building relationships throughout the trilogy as she dove into her legacy, fought against Trinity, raided tombs, and killed way too many people. Some creatives behind the reboot have said that Lara Croft and Sam Nishimura were originally envisioned as a romantic couple, or were at least going to end up together at some point. You can see it in their chemistry and conversations on the Endurance before everything goes to crap. Dude, they were just friends! Or Lara's determination to save her when she's captured and intended to be sacrificed to Himiko. To my knowledge, Lara and Sam were never intended to be an actual couple. I think there were some people involved who wanted that, but it was never at an official capacity ever planned to be a thing. I do know of some people specifically who pushed for that, not only in the games, but even on outside material that was tied to the games. I'm not going to say exactly because I'm going to call out who it was, and they tried to make it happen, and it did not get approved. So yeah, I'll just say that much, because that was something that Lara Croft's sexuality has never been that expanded on, although there have been times where she has been portrayed as straight in like Top Cow comics and in the movie Cradle of Life. I'll go more into detail on that in a bit. Okay, she will do anything to save Sam, and while she cares about her other friends too, there's something more distinct about the two women that stands out even today. Even in a post-launch comic, the author said that Lara and Sam were meant to end their respective storylines with a kiss, but this was reduced to a friendly hug in order to avoid any definitive confirmation to a queer relationship. Okay, well, I guess this is public knowledge. That's what I was kind of alluding to, but the only difference is this wasn't a part of the comic at an official capacity. From my knowledge and what I talked to from a person involved in this project was that one of the people making the comics, who wasn't a writer or didn't have official approval on to do this, wanted that, and it got overturned. So it wasn't supposed to happen. It was something that was almost put in there, or not even almost put in there. It was something that somebody who didn't have the power to say so wanted to put in there. Unless, this is my interpretation, unless I'm missing something, but that is the conversation I had with said person about the topic. All right. Furthermore, okay, it sucked, and Sam not appearing at all in either Rise or Shadow of the Tomb Raider only left fruity fans like me hoping for an unexpected return. The thing is Sam did not have the best feedback from people because she was nothing but a damsel in distress. There really wasn't much more to it than that. She didn't add anything but being someone for Lara to rescue. All right, we didn't get that return, but now that Crystal Dynamics has confirmed a new Tomb Raider is in the works with the help of Unreal Engine 5, it is finally time to give our favorite explorer a girlfriend. She is now the woman she has always wanted to be, putting herself through hell in the Survivor trilogy as she saved the world, uncovered the truth behind her mysterious parents, and finally sought to be happy in life for the first time in so long. We leave her sitting behind a desk talking about the journey to come and exactly where we might be going next. I don't see how this next game can't involve Sam in some way, either as a main character or a returning Flare who plays a core role in the unfolding narrative. Editor-in-Chief Stacey Henley recently wrote about a need to remaster the Legend trilogy before this new game rolls around in order to link the timelines together. Dude, I don't think that's necessary. The Legend trilogy is still playable well enough on Steam, for example. And also, like, dude, those games are so watered down and so easy for the most part. I don't know. I don't think it's necessary. Plus, that was the worst selling era of Tomb Raider. I just don't think that a remaster is viable. Or at least provide some sort of cadence to where all of these capers sit in the established canon. I'm not sure if that will happen or if this new game will see us flash forward to a time when Lara and Sam are already together, having been on these aforementioned adventures together before settling down in a woodland bungalow to enjoy their cottagecore retirement. Lara Croft is not the settling down type. I'm gonna dive in more on this later, but come on. Then suddenly, a new threat rears its head and forces them to take up arms once again to investigate. I'd love to see a reinterpretation of the original game with this version of Lara. Okay, so if you want to see Lara changed and transformed into your fanfic here. Okay. Where she travels around the world fighting dinosaurs and going up against larger-than-life baddies with her sapphic sidekick. There's so much potential here if Square Enix stops being a conservative grandma and gives Crystal Dynamics the freedom to give Lara these connections and cement the importance of her queer identity. That first is headcanon and not real. All right, Lara Croft is one of the most defining heroes in gaming history, so imagine the impact she would have by coming out as canon lesbian. Not one that is awkwardly nixed in comics to avoid outrage, but someone who smooches their girlfriend in cutscenes or has a history with female partners she isn't afraid to reference. Make her flirty, loving, and honestly in a way that is even the most bigoted skeptic couldn't argue against. All right, now that I stomached this article, let me really dive in here. Okay, so first of all, why does it have to be Lara Croft to do this? We already have, like, Ellie from The Last of Us, for example, which I don't think anybody has a problem with her being a lesbian. That's fine. That's great. Yeah. Good. Representation, awesome. And this is a character that, hey, she was created as that, and it works. But Lara Croft was never created to be a lesbian. So you basically want to transform an existing character to, I don't know, validate you. That's what it sounds like to me. And here's the thing with that is you shouldn't, first of all, need a fictional character to validate your own identity, first of all. Secondly, why would you want to, isn't it kind of insulting or pandering to have a character transformed for that purpose, for some points, basically, and that's all that it would be doing? Because Lara was not created as a lesbian character, okay? Here's the thing about how I feel and how a lot of the original fans feel is how Lara Croft was originally created was supposed to be someone who's completely unattainable. So she's unattainable in her aesthetic. Like, you can't achieve that. How she looks, how she is, how strong she is. You can't be her, and you also can't be with her type thing, right? So, also, Lara was like this anti-hero, just absolutely obsessed with adventure, okay? Absolutely obsessed with the thrill, the adrenaline rush that came with these adventures. So, that was her life. She was married to that, basically. There was nothing and nobody that was going to distract her from her thing. And for that reason, a lot of us fans always saw Lara as kind of just asexual. She didn't have any, she was just so hyper focused on this way of living and this life that took over everything. She didn't have time for anybody else, and she didn't even care about it. Okay, she's just selfish and focused on her own thrills. Building personal, deep relationships, even that deep of friendships, and anything beyond that was not on her radar. She lived life completely for the rush and the thrill of things. And that's that. And so, yeah, a lot of us old school fans see Lara as asexual for that reason. And we always have. Now, the movies and the Top Cow comics tried to add romantic interest and stuff at a straight capacity. And even Angel of Darkness with Curtis Trent, that was intended to be a romantic connection down the road. So it has been attempted to give Lara some sort of romantic life, and at a straight capacity, or maybe perhaps but I don't even think that was, it's always just been dudes. That it has been attempted. The fans, most of us, or a lot of us, have not liked that either. I don't want Lara in any type of relationship. Before anybody sits here and tries to call me a bigot, I don't think she should be straight. I don't think she should be gay. I don't think she should be anything in between. I think Lara Croft should go back to how she was intended to be, and that was somebody who was so selfishly focused that she couldn't even think about a partner at any capacity. And she's so selfishly focused that I wouldn't even want that for her. I wouldn't want that for anybody involved in her life anyway, because they would never have that number one spot in her life. That number one spot is always going to be adventure, and anybody else would just take a back seat to that. And that ain't no way to live. That is basically like Richard Croft, how he was in the rebooted trilogy, just absolutely terrible husband, who put his all this other stuff above his wife. So you don't want Lara to repeat that. And also, I think Lara has a level of self-awareness. And not only that, but reboot Lara would not want to do that to somebody else when she saw what her dad did to her mom and her, and kind of backseated them. She wouldn't want that. But I will say this reboot Lara is a completely different character than than core Lara, all right? Than the original Lara Croft. She's not the same person. It's not a matter of, she's inexperienced and she'll turn into her. No, she's just not the same person at all, at any capacity. So if something like this happened, I'm at the point where I'm already over it anyway, where I don't think Lara Croft is coming back. I would love to be pleasantly surprised. I think that they will make some sort of attempts with this unification, but will Lara Croft actually return? The Lara Croft. The one and only. Probably not. We'll probably get some watered down version in cosplay. Basically. That's what I expect. So, to heck with it. I don't even care at this point. I'll give her a boyfriend, a girlfriend. I'll make her poly. I don't care anymore. It's not Lara Croft. It's not. I think this is stupid. But it's not like this is the same person anyway. So whatever they do with her at this point will not surprise me anyway. And I'm checked out. All right, so let me go ahead and go into some comments for some recent videos. D123 says, I don't expect Rings of Power to be good, but I'd actually love it if it somehow was good. And I'd like to think most of the people I've listened to dunk on the show so far have the integrity and love for the source material that they would be ready to say it's good. But not all dreams come true. Yeah, that would be an interesting turn of events. If it happens, I will be the first to humble myself and say it's good. I did that with Spider-Man, the newest one. Because the thing is I didn't like the first two of the MCU Spider-Man movies because I feel like, I did like the first one it first dropped, but then later I kind of retracted that a bit because I don't feel like the heart of Spidey or Peter Parker was really there. And I like that 90s comic / cartoon version of Spidey where he was just very sarcastic, very loner type too, in how he was. Or even how the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man was portrayed. I thought that was great. And so I liked that. And I didn't like that he was always in Tony Stark's shadow. So before the latest movie came out, man, I was dunking on it like crazy. Like I thought it was going to be the worst thing. But I watched it and actually enjoyed it. So, I admitted it. Beardy says, I hope this is the sassy, sexy Lara we all knew and loved. I did enjoy the reboot trilogy, though. I have a bad feeling they're going to cater to the woke crowd and make her manly. First of all, I don't expect the classic Lara to return. I wish, but I'm not expecting it. I don't think they'll make her manly, though. I don't. I think what they'll do is they'll continue more along the lines of like that safe, vulnerable reboot Lara that's unthreatening, girl next door type thing. They'll just make her bland and boring. I don't think they're actually going to make her manly. All right. I would prefer her being manly than how she is now, if I'm being brutally honest. At least she would get tougher. I don't want her to be manly, though, but just saying. All right, Godzilla Mike says, ugh, yeah, I just saw this movie, and it was a beast of a movie in the worst way possible. I almost walked out. That's how much I hated it. I almost walked out. Dragon Knight says, quite enjoy the content, Mel. I will offer a kind critique. You spend more time on Tomb Raider than on what your video title was. Feel free to do this as you like. Just be aware that someone might view it as a bait and switch. I don't think that you got off topic on purpose. You just gravitated toward what one of your most passionate interests is. Just food for thought. Thank you for being kind about it. But welcome to my channel. Tomb Raider is such a big part of my life, and classic Tomb Raider, I know it sounds like over dramatic, but it really did shape a lot of me as a person. And so I will segue any opportunity. If I find any way to shoehorn a way to talk about Tomb Raider and Lara Croft, I will do so in my real life and in this channel. And I understand not everyone's going to like that, but hey, that's me. Retro Captain Steve says, going off on Rings of Power while repping Rainbow Bright. Respect, Melanie. Thank you. Yeah, I was wearing my Rainbow Bright. The vintage Rainbow Bright brought me back to my childhood. Huff and Puff says, I don't trust Crystal Dynamics with anything. I don't believe the new Tomb Raider will be good. I don't need reboot Lara and classic attire. Exactly. That's probably what we're going to see. And same with Perfect Dark. By the way, just like Lara, Joanna used to be 5'9", which I didn't know that. And it seems like Crystal Dynamics have changed it again. I wonder what's their issue with tall women. Dude, I love playing games as tall women, tall, powerful women. There's something about making that when they're really tall like that, it makes them very intimidating. I just think it's cool. I like playing as tall women in video games. It's like a power fantasy thing. Myself, I'm barely above average height, you know? And so playing as a taller woman is fun. All right, Igor says, this channel was one of the best things I discovered this year. It just made me so happy to read this comment. Thank you so much. That's so sweet of you to say. Thank you. All right, so let me go ahead and go to the verse of the day today. I picked Philippians 1:6. It says, and I am sure of this, that he who began a good work in you will bring it to completion at the day of Jesus Christ. So I kind of wanted this for not only myself, but for anyone else who's watching who's a believer and may be discouraged about where you're at on your path and stuff, because I shared on a recent video that sometimes I get discouraged with my own channel. And I'm it's because sometimes people get really upset, or I talk about topics and I share my opinions on topics and stuff that, I'm opinionated. I have opinions and I share them. And whenever you have opinions, there are going to be people who will be offended by that. And sometimes it gets to me. Sometimes it bothers me because it's I don't want to offend people. I don't enjoy offending people. But I don't know. I feel like there are certain topics and there's certain things going on in the gaming industry or the nerd industry and all that kind of stuff. All of our things are being hijacked, by these movements. And I like to be a voice against it because I feel like there's not a whole lot in this space. And so I like to contribute to that. And also what I do with my videos is like I bring the Bible verses in and stuff, and I'd like to think that, I'm doing this for God. You know what I mean? Like I'd like to think it's part of my purpose. And so sometimes I lose sight of that and I get discouraged, but then keep on going, man. Keep on going. And I've said this in a past video, but like God calls all of us believers to be disciples. And so if you're a believer, if you're a Christian, hey, God wants to use you. And it's on you to actually achieve that. God doesn't want us just to be like, hey, yeah, I'm a Christian. I've got fireproof insurance now. I can go to heaven. Great. There's so much more than that. Like we're supposed to develop a relationship with God, and we're also supposed to, share God's word and to be disciples. And so if we're just complacent and we're just like, okay, yep, I'm good to go, and that's that, there's so much more that God wants from us. And that's going to look different for everybody. But I just think it's so important to remember that. And to remember that, hey, we're not just supposed to be lukewarm and just chill and all that. We have a deeper purpose, and we should be trying to find that. So anyway, that's that. All right. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you again tomorrow. And until then, go boom.